Hey everyone, it's Gabby B, and we are doing our 25 days of small biz babes, which means we're highlighting amazing small business owners from all throughout the US. And today we are interviewing with the one and only Ebony Fleming. She is the owner of Thrive Empowered. She's a meal plan mentor and a podcast host. We want to talk about the way that she helps women thrive through meal prep and planning, protecting that sacred mealtime and what it used to look like for her family and what it looks like now.
So I'm going back to first time mama of just one. And this was back when I didn't work from home. So I had an hour trip into work, hour back, also like picking her up from daycare on the way. And then on the way home, just realizing how exhausted I was and how like unexcited I was about what was in our fridge. I was like, I don't have anything else to pour into a meal. And that just made me feel really sucky, to be honest. It's just that cycle of just like, we have food in the fridge, but I'm so exhausted. I didn't have a plan. And I knew it was going to take a lot more energy to make a meal happen, as opposed to just going through the drive-thru and grabbing something that I knew she would probably eat. Right. I'm like, "Oh, well, at least she's eating." But I knew for sure, like, okay, she can't live like this. I can't show up as a mom like this. This is not working. And so for me, of course, the dollars going out the window because I have food in the fridge, but then I'm also going through the drive-thru because it's just easier, right? So the budget was not budgeting. Not budgeting. And so I think the biggest thing for me was more of like the emotional cost of that guilt that just kept adding up every time I decided to go through the drive-thru instead of trying to figure out something at home because it was just too much. It was too overwhelming. I was like, this is way easier. This is fine. I'll figure it out later. And so I just say that a lot. I'll figure it out later. We'll find a better way later. And then that kept going on and on until I said, enough is enough. I need to figure out a better way.
And I love the way that your name plays into this because you're helping moms thrive
Yeah.
and you're empowering them, right? So that business name of Thrive Empower. The most important thing that I think we discussed on the pop episode, which I'll also link here so you guys can go listen to it, is how it's not that you don't go out to eat now, but it's almost that you're
Yeah.
so empowered to go out to eat. Because I think there are times when we're sitting in the drive-thru and we're saying, I don't want to be here. I'm only here because of how emotionally fatigued I am. And I think
Mhm.
it can be this really weird feeling to know that your arms and your body could go through the motions, but you are so emotionally empty that you wouldn't even want to be cooking the food. That's the last thing that you'd want to do with your time. You probably want to lay down. You probably want to shower. You probably want to take a nap. So I want you to bring up what your week looks like now, because I think so many think of meal planning and they just think, I don't have the time. What do you have to say to them?
Yeah. Yeah. I say there's always time. It's just where you are putting it, where you're putting the energy. For me, it's all about don't overextend yourself. Don't say, oh yeah, I'm gonna, it's not all or nothing. It's not okay now if you're meal planning now or you're cooking dinner, you have to cook every single day. Now it's like really figuring out what works best for your family. Is there a day during the week where you have a little bit more wiggle room where you can sit down and plan meals for not even a full week? Look at like 1 day, 2 days, whatever feels good for you at a time, and just dedicate that 15 minutes to say, I'm going to set myself up for success. So I'm not walking to that kitchen looking confused, looking in the fridge, hoping that, okay, something is going to come together, or trying to use the brain power, right? Start to plan your energy more wisely. Where does this make sense for me? Realistically, it's not going in the fridge. What is today? Wednesday? Tuesday. Going in the fridge on a Tuesday and just being like, okay, what are we having for dinner? And then doing that every single day. You have to like front load some of that where it makes sense for you, where you do have the energy and the brain capacity to do that. So that when it comes to Tuesday, you're like, nope, I already know what's in the fridge. I'm going in and I'm confident that I know what I'm making for dinner right now. Same thing with prep. Is there a day that you can do a little bit of that prep to help you save on cook time when it's time to cook that meal?
Love that. I love that. And it also makes me think, Ebony, how much of a unicorn people listening to this may think that you are.
Yeah.
And what do you mean? You meal plan. What do you mean? Can you walk us through what your week looks like?
So to be honest, when I first started meal planning, it was not fun. I sat down for the first time. I was like, okay, this has to be done. And I legit, you guys, it took me like, I feel like it was like 2 hours. It was like really like trying to force the meals out of me. And I was like, it can't be this difficult.
Okay, so it wasn't easy for you in the
No,
beginning either. I
absolutely not.
love hearing that.
No.
Like, wait, guys, it literally felt like your fingers on a chalkboard. But okay, I just wanted to say that. Like, wow,
Yes. But
good for people
now,
to hear. Like, no, it was hard for me too.
yes, exactly. Exactly. And like fast forward to now, I've started to look at it in a different way because I realize that you can't force it out. So that's why I talk about choosing a time where your energy does feel good, where you have the brain capacity, but also when you're in a good headspace. And then what I like to tell my clients and myself, because I sit down, like I light my candle, I turn my music on, I do this while maybe the kids are napping or they're somewhere doing their quiet time, right? Because it shouldn't actually take you 2 hours. 2 hours is a long time to sit down and come up with a meal plan. Realistically, 15, 20 minutes to do a meal plan for a full week. And that's for me planning for a family of five. My husband and I both work from home. So we're including breakfast and lunch in there for us, plus dinners throughout the week for our family. And you really have to be intentional with what gets you in a good headspace. So this is also like a little discovery session for yourself to figure out like what makes me feel good. It shouldn't feel like a chore or a task. This is like self-care for future you that is going to be looking in that fridge, knowing that you have to make a meal.
I love that. I love that you included breakfast and lunch because I think that when we even think of meal planning, it may just be for dinner. But the fact that
Yes.
you're like, no, we need breakfast and lunch because or else we're going to be
Yeah.
stuck in the same boat, right? We're going to be sitting
Mhm.
there saying, well, what do we make? And when it comes to the way that people work with you, the resources they get. So people are sitting here and they're like, meal plan mentor. Okay, I get it. You're awesome. You're a unicorn. You could predict the future for food for my family.
Yes.
Can you show
Mhm.
us what some of your resources look like? What some of this looks like when you do it? Like, how do we start to meal plan and prep like Ebony? And what does it look like to work with you?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to show you my favorite resource when you join the Cook Like a Mother Circle, and that is my current membership. Um that's where I bring all of my clients and this resource that I'm about to share on my screen, y'all, it is literally when I say the mother load, it's the mother load because it's you not having to start from scratch every week. And let me see if I can actually find
I
my
love
goodness.
that too. You not having to start from scratch every single week. The amount of time that this saves people, the amount of money that it saves when you go to the grocery store, and a shameless share that I love doing all of these interviews and things because it also helps me get educated, right? Like it helps me change my life. And I was sharing with Ebony previously when we did our podcast, like we're spending a lot on groceries, we're spending a lot on eating out. And then after speaking with her, even just once to record the podcast, the amount of mindfulness I feel like I started bringing into eat. How are we eating? Eat. What does this get to look like? If I could paint this picture, to my
Mhm.
family's highest and best interest. What could it look like? And so I'm just so thankful for each conversation we get to have, Ebony, because it's inspiring me, it's educating me, it's changing just even my life and the life of my children. So just a shameless plug so you can know and how down to earth you are. You're not here to judge. You're not
Yeah.
here to point
Yeah.
fingers. You're here to hold
Mhm.
hands, sit down, and say, let's work on this together. So walk us
Yeah.
through this cook
Yes.
like a mother vault.
Yes. So this is my favorite part of the Cook Like a Mother Circle. This is the vault. And y'all, I want to start this by saying this started off as a vault of not only meal plan samples, but also recipes from 7 years of motherhood for me. So if you can think of all of the seasons I've gone through already, when I say this is a mother load, I mean it. And it's ever expanding, right? I'm always, I'm still a mom, right? I'm still cooking for my family. I'm still creating new recipes. I'm still going through different phases of meal plans. And so I want to start here. This is your welcome page, right? It tells you exactly how to use it. And like I said, this is your way to not start from scratch every single week. Here I break down the different categories that are available, and here I give you some examples on how you can use it best for you and your family, and then tell you to like always come back, like remember this resource. And here, this is how I do my meal plans every single week. And so I give you a blank slate right here, right here. Literally every single week, I come in here and I will go in and plug in our meals, breakfast, lunches, snacks. Even looking at, and I'll show this in one of the sample meal plans because that shows it a little bit better. But jumping into the sample meal plans, you see these categories. When I say different seasons of motherhood, that's what I mean. I'm talking about when I am a busy mama, when I do have those moments where I do want to kind of slow down and do some meals that do take maybe a little bit more love, maybe a little bit more time. Here, I have a really simple plan where you don't even focus on the meals, you focus on the ingredients to start with. Five, four, three, two, one. So it's five veggies, four fruits, three proteins, two carbs, and then one sweet treat because I love sweets. Then I look at how you incorporate meal delivery plans. There was once a season where our family relied a little bit more heavily on HelloFresh because that's just where I was. A few years back, I was still working on my master's degree with two little ones and then eventually one like on the way. I had to rely on some different sources. There was a season where I did a gut reset. And so I have some of those meal examples in there. What that looks like to incorporate that still with your family while, you're getting a reset as a mama. I have a 1.5-year-old. All babies have to learn how to eat. And with my last two babies in particular, I took them through baby-led feeding, which I know there's a huge craze, but there's also that fear of just like, okay, what do I give my baby a whole carrot? And no, so I break it down for you within here what our meals look like. I'm gonna go in there because that one is really fun for me. But what our meals look like, what my breakfast look like, because I have to eat, and then how it looked for him, still incorporating basically like what I was eating, but in a safe way for him to explore. And then I wanted to look over here at the weekends because y'all, we still take out. We still eat takeout. We still incorporate that there may be leftovers by the end of the week. There may be freezer meals that may be coming in here. And so we put those in here because this is not about saying I'm never going to eat out again. It's about saying, how can I eat out less so that I am incorporating more whole foods within my family's diet, but still saying we still love to try restaurants, right? That is a part of our life. And then down here, recipes. And when I say this is ever expanding, the recipes are my favorite because all of these, first of all, are meals that I have personally eaten, that my family has eaten. But within each of these recipes, it's not just the recipes, the ingredients, and the instructions. I also give you prepping tips. So, ways that you can plan ahead of time to say, I'm going to dice and roast this sweet potato a few days before so that when it comes time on Monday or Tuesday, whenever, I can actually cook this quickly without it being like, oh, I got that sweet potato, but I don't have time. You do because you diced it and roasted it ahead of time. I also, throughout a few of these, have just time savers. You don't want to roast and dice your potato? That's fine. There is frozen diced potatoes already out there that you can use, and I've used them plenty of times myself. So all of this ball is literally loaded with all of the knowledge that I've gained over the past 7 years of learning how to meal plan and prep. It's ever evolving as I continue to learn about what works for like me and my family. And so that y'all don't, my clients, they don't have to start from scratch every week. They can come in here and just get a few ideas, like get a head start, especially on those weeks when you feel like this has been a lot and my brain capacity is at like not as much, but meal planning is going to be the best because it's going to get you to start off. Like I said, it's self-care for future you that is going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I planned that meal because today I really don't have anything left, right? So yeah, this is my favorite part of the circle.
Wow. Now walk us through
Yeah.
what it looks like to join your world? Like, what resources do you have? What offers do you have? How can we work with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing screen so I can share my website, my stand store, so you guys can see exactly where all the resources are because it's super easy. And then let me go back to share. But while I'm pulling that up, y'all, there are basically about three ways that you can enter my world. Well, there's a little bit more, but there's three like main ways that are always available. And that is gonna be either getting my free meal plan and prep workbook or joining the Cook Like a Mother circle or saying, I need more one-on-one support. Really, like, I love the idea of a community, but I need you in my kitchen. That's my kitchen confidence session. And so right here, you can grab my meal plan and prep workbook. It's free. It walks you through how to easily plan just one meal. That's it, just one meal by using the puzzle pieces of what your favorite ingredients are, what your favorite flavors are. It really breaks it down to like the simplest form. And that's free. You go in, you drop your email, your name, and you get that immediately as a download. And here you can join the circle. This is my main membership, and the women who join here, we hop on a call every single Monday at 12 p.m. And we are not only celebrating all the wins from last week, but we're also getting time to co-plan our meals for either that week, depending on if where you're at, right? I'm always like, literally come as you are. I don't care how messy things have gotten, like just show up and just be poured into because that's your moment to say, okay, life has been lifing. I don't have a meal plan for this week, but you can hop on this call and you can get a little reset and get you started for this week. Or if you're overachiever like me, who has her meal plan already set, then you start planning for the next week. You start getting some ideas going. You start talking through what does my week already look like next week? How can I set myself up for success? And my favorite thing about that is that it's not even just the vault anymore. It's all of us pouring in ideas and recipes that we've tried and saying, oh, I think you will like this. Didn't you say you like this or your family loves like pasta or something like that? I saw this really cool pasta recipe and we just kind of bounce ideas off of each other on that call. And that's an hour every single week. Within there, we also have just our community chat, which is like open, always just drop in recipes or questions, or you just need like support. Maybe you're having a rough week and you're like, y'all, I just need a community that gets it, that I know is going to be a safe space for me. So that's my circle, just like the vault, ever growing. And then right here, you can grab a kitchen confidence session with me. Now, I will say, I'm a full-time working mama. I work still full-time corporate while I'm doing all of this, while I'm building this community because I am so passionate about it. But because of that, I only have two spots available each month. So when they're gone, and you'll have to like wait for the next month. But my sessions are 90 minutes one-on-one, me and you, before we even jump in. I ask you questions that you fill out, so that I'm coming in not just as a blank slate, but I'm coming in already praying for you and your family. I'm coming in already knowing where the pain points are, where the struggle points are, where we can actually hone in and help you build your systems so that you have a stronger foundation and so that you start to feel more confident that like you can do this because you can. And I know because I was you looking for that type of support. So those are the main three ways that you can get at my work.
Ebony, this has been so insightful, so empowering. And I would love to ask you as we close where they can find you on socials. And B, what's a meal that you've really been loving lately?
Ooh, okay. Okay, so you can find me on socials at thrive.empowered everywhere. Instagram, TikTok. If you find me on Facebook, it's just under my name, Ebony Fleming, so that's super easy. On all of those sites or all of those socials, you'll find my website. So all of those points of entry, you can get to that same website that I just shared. Where else? You can also find me at the Thrive Like a Mother podcast, weekly episodes. Every Tuesday we drop. So there's a new one out now that you guys can go listen to. And then, ooh, you got me on the favorite meal. My goodness, because I make so make so many. Well, I will tell you, I will tell you my favorite one this week because I just started my bread baking journey. And so this week, you literally yesterday, I just had my first avocado toast with my own baked bread. And I tell you, it has changed my life because like it can get no better than that. It cannot. Fresh avocado on fresh baked bread, like it seems so
We're
simple, but
simple
like,
women. We're simple women, right? Like
yes,
home baked bread, fresh avocado, sprinkle a little lime, sprinkle a little Himalayan sea salt. I love also sprinkling everything but the bagel, like
ooh,
everything bagel
yeah, yeah,
seasoning on top.
yes,
Birds are singing, the world is right,
yes,
peace is restored when you take a bite
exactly.
of that.
Oh, yes.
I
Yes.
love that, Ebony. Oh, I'm gonna have to hear all about your bread making journey. Thank you so much for joining us for this LinkedIn Live. You are phenomenal. As I said, you are such an inspiration. So thank you so much for being on with us for 25 days.